Hello, Nikolai Kondratiev. Can you and your English language translator hear me okay?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Yoder. This is the translator speaking. You are coming through clearly. I will now drop out of the conversation and will only translate your and Mr. Kondratiev's words. Greetings. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Nikolai Dmitrievich Kondratiev, but please call me Nikolai. I must say the world you come from is quite remarkable. I am eager to discuss my work and share my thoughts with you.
Good day, sir. I have been looking forward to this conversation, especially given the economic turmoil we are experiencing in my time. For those who are not familiar with your work, can you give us a brief description, then share with our audience what personal experiences or challenges shaped your economic views and led you to develop your theory? And then, as a follow-up question, what specific events or observations led you to develop the Kondratiev wave theory?
Good day to you, too. The economic turmoil you speak of is certainly an interesting topic. I am glad that you find my work relevant to your time. Now, let me give you a brief introduction to my work and the personal experiences that shaped my views. I am an economist, and my main contribution to the field is my theory on long economic cycles, which are now commonly known as Kondratiev waves. These waves describe the ebb and flow of economic growth and contraction over several decades, typically ranging between 40 and 60 years. I've identified various factors that contribute to these cycles, such as technological innovation, capital accumulation, and social and political forces. My interest in economics was sparked by the struggles I witnessed during my upbringing in rural Russia. I was born in 1892 in a peasant family, and the difficulties faced by the agricultural sector greatly impacted my perspective on the economy. I was particularly concerned about the way the government dealt with these issues, and I sought to find solutions that could improve the lives of people like my family. As for the development of my wave theory, it was a culmination of observations and research. In the early 1920s, I was appointed to the position of director of the Institute of Conjuncture in Moscow, where I had the opportunity to study economic data from various countries, including the United States and Western Europe. It was during this time that I began to notice recurring patterns in economic growth and decline that spanned over several decades. These observations eventually led me to formulate the idea of long economic cycles, which I later termed as Kondratiev waves. I published my findings in a 1925 book titled The Major Economic Cycles, in which I presented evidence of these long-term cycles based on historical data. The recurring nature of these waves made me realize that economies go through periods of expansion and contraction, driven by the interplay of technological innovations, capital investments, and sociopolitical factors. I argued that understanding these cycles could help policymakers better manage economic growth and mitigate the negative effects of downturns. My work, however, was not without controversy. At the time, the Soviet Union was heavily influenced by Marxist ideology, which emphasized a deterministic view of economic development. My theories, which suggested that capitalist economies were not doomed to collapse, but rather went through cyclical patterns, were at odds with the prevailing beliefs. This eventually led to my imprisonment for crimes against the state, and I was unable to continue my work. Nonetheless, I am heartened to see that my ideas continue to be relevant and spark discussions in your time. The Kondratiev wave theory, though not without its critics, offers insights that can help us better understand the complex nature of economic development. So, my dear friend, what other questions or thoughts do you have on this matter? I'm more than happy to engage in a spirited debate.
Based on your theory, what do you foresee as the most significant economic developments in the coming decades?
I see you're eager to delve into the future. Let me share some thoughts on what I believe could be significant economic developments in the coming decades based on my understanding of long-term economic cycles. Kondratiev waves are closely associated with the introduction and diffusion of groundbreaking technologies. In your time, I understand that advancements in fields such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy, and nanotechnology have the potential to transform the economy significantly. These innovations could lead to the creation of new industries, increased productivity, and a shift in the structure of the global economy. Demographic shifts. Changes in population growth and age distribution can have profound effects on economic development. In the coming decades, many developed countries may face challenges related to aging populations and low fertility rates, which could impact labor supply, economic growth, and social welfare system. On the other hand, developing countries with younger populations may experience a demographic dividend, provided they can create sufficient job opportunities and invest in education and healthcare. Globalization and interconnectedness. As the world becomes increasingly interconnected through trade, investment, and communication, the global economy is likely to continue evolving. This interconnectedness can lead to both opportunities and challenges. For example, it may facilitate the spread of technological advancements, but it can also make economies more vulnerable to external shocks, such as financial crises or geopolitical conflicts. Income inequality and social issues. As the global economy evolves, it's essential to address the growing concerns of income inequality and social unrest. Ensuring that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly among the population could be critical in maintaining social stability and fostering sustainable development. These are just a few potential developments that could shape the economic landscape in the coming decades. It's essential to keep in mind that Kondratiev waves are not deterministic, and various factors can influence the trajectory of these long-term cycles. As such, I encourage you to remain vigilant, adaptive, and open to new ideas as you navigate the complex and ever-changing economic landscape of your time.
What industries or sectors do you predict will thrive or decline during the next Kondratiev wave?
Let me see. The transition from fossil fuels to cleaner energy sources may drive innovation and investments in this sector. Artificial intelligence and automation, technological advancements in AI machine learning, and robotics have the potential to transform various industries, from manufacturing to healthcare. The adoption of automation and smart technologies could lead to increased productivity and efficiency, driving growth in this sector. Innovations in biotechnology, genomics, and personalized medicine could revolutionize the healthcare sector. As the global population continues to age, the demand for advanced medical treatments and therapies is likely to increase, providing opportunities for growth in this industry. The shift towards electric vehicles and other sustainable modes of transportation, such as hydrogen fuel cells, could transform the automotive and transportation industries. Governments and companies investing in the development and infrastructure of these technologies may experience significant growth. Traditional fossil fuel industries, coal, oil, and natural gas, may face a decline in demand. This could lead to a contraction in these sectors and force them to adapt to the changing energy landscape. Traditional manufacturing. The rise of automation, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing techniques, such as 3D printing, could disrupt traditional labor. Companies that fail to adapt to these technological changes may struggle to compete and face decline. Non-digital or non-adaptive businesses. The rapid pace of technological advancements and the increasing importance of digital connectivity mean that businesses that fail to adapt to digital transformation or embrace new technologies may fall behind their competitors and eventually decline. Industries that rely heavily on environmentally unsustainable practices or resources may face increasing pressure from governments, consumers, and investors to change their ways. Companies that cannot transition to more sustainable practices may struggle to survive in the long run. Of course, these are just speculations based on the trends I observed. It's essential to understand that the future is always uncertain and subject to change. Industries and sectors can be influenced by various factors such as technological breakthroughs, geopolitical events, and social changes. Being aware of these potential developments and adapting to them will be crucial for success in the ever-evolving global economy.
If you could give one piece of advice to policymakers regarding economic development, what would it be
If I were to give one piece of advice, it would be this. Focus on fostering long-term inclusive and sustainable growth while remaining adaptive to the ever-changing economic landscape. To achieve this, policymakers should consider the following principles. Encourage innovation and technological advancements. Invest in research and development and support industries that drive innovation. New technologies have the potential to boost productivity, create new jobs, and spur economic growth. Invest in education and human capital. A well-educated and skilled workforce is crucial for driving economic development. Ensure access to quality education for all citizens and invest in training programs that help people adapt to new technologies and industries. Develop a resilient and adaptive economic framework. Be prepared for the fluctuations and cycles inherent in economic systems. Understand the dynamics of long-term economic cycles, such as the Kondratiev waves, and use this knowledge to develop policies that promote stability and resilience in the face of economic downturns. Promote inclusive growth. Ensure that the benefits of economic growth are distributed fairly across society. Address income inequality, provide social safety nets, and implement policies that support marginalized and vulnerable populations. In an increasingly interconnected world, it's essential to collaborate with other nations to address global challenges such as climate change, trade imbalances, and financial crises. Be open to change and new ideas. The economic landscape is always evolving, and what works today may not be effective in the future. Policymakers should be willing to learn from new research, embrace novel approaches, and adapt their policies accordingly. Nonetheless, focusing on long-term growth while remaining adaptive to change will lay the foundation for a more resilient and thriving economy.
How can investors and traders use the Kondratiev wave theory to improve their decision-making and performance in the markets?
While the Kondratiev wave theory primarily focuses on long-term economic cycles, it can still provide valuable insights for investors and traders looking to improve their decision-making and performance in the markets. Here are a few ways to utilize the theory. Kondratiev waves can help investors recognize the broader trends in economic growth and contraction. Understanding these long-term cycles can assist in identifying industries and sectors that may thrive or struggle during different phases of the wave. Investors can then allocate their resources accordingly, focusing on sectors with higher growth potential during expansion phases and adopting a more defensive approach during contraction phases. Kondratiev waves are often associated with the emergence of groundbreaking technology. By staying informed about technological advancements and their potential impact on various industries, investors can position themselves to capitalize on the transformative effects of these innovations. The Kondratiev wave theory emphasizes the importance of taking a long-term perspective when investing. By focusing on long-term growth potential rather than short-term fluctuations, investors can mitigate the risks associated with market volatility and enhance their overall performance. Understanding the cyclical nature of economies can help investors appreciate the importance of diversification and risk management. By spreading investments across different asset classes, industries, and geographical regions, investors can reduce their exposure to specific risks associated with a particular phase of the Kondratiev wave. It's important to note that the Kondratiev wave theory is just one of many tools that investors and traders can use to inform their decision-making. It should not be relied upon exclusively, but rather used in conjunction with other fundamental and technical analyses. The markets are influenced by a multitude of factors, and no single theory can account for all the complexities involved. Additionally, the exact timing and duration of Kondratiev waves can be challenging to predict, so investors should be cautious when making decisions based solely on the expected progression of these cycles. By using the Kondratiev wave theory in combination with other analytical tools and maintaining a long-term perspective, investors can enhance their understanding of market dynamics and make more informed decisions to improve their performance in the markets.
What do you say to skeptics who argue that your theory doesn't hold up in today's globalized and interconnected world?
I understand that skeptics may question the validity of the Kondratiev wave theory in today's globalized and interconnected world. Economic systems have indeed evolved significantly since the early 20th century, when I first developed the concept. However, I would argue that the underlying principles of my theory still hold valuable insights, even in the context of the modern global economy. First, it's essential to recognize that the Kondratiev wave theory is not a deterministic or rigid model. Instead, it offers a framework for understanding the long-term cyclical patterns of economic growth and contraction. These cycles are influenced by a variety of factors, such as technological innovations, capital accumulation, and socio-political forces. These driving forces are still relevant in today's world, and their interplay continues to shape the global economy. Second, the globalized and interconnected nature of the modern economy does not necessarily invalidate the Kondratiev wave theory. In fact, it may reinforce the importance of considering long-term economic cycles. The increasing interconnectedness means that economic trends and technological advancements can spread more rapidly across countries, potentially amplifying the effects of these cycles. Of course, the Kondratiev wave theory is not without its limitations. It is challenging to pinpoint the exact timing and duration of these long-term cycles, and there are undoubtedly other factors at play that influence economic growth and decline. However, the theory remains a valuable tool for understanding the broader patterns of economic development and for providing a long-term perspective on the ebbs and flows of the global economy. While it's essential to acknowledge the limitations and criticisms of the Kondratiev wave theory, I believe that it still holds valuable insights for understanding long-term economic cycles. The modern globalized world may present new challenges and complexities, but the underlying forces driving these cycles, such as technological innovation, capital accumulation, and socio-political factors, remain relevant.
You had a unique external view of capitalism and went into your research with an adversarial mindset. I would be fascinated to hear your views in your own words on capitalism as an economic system. Please share your thoughts as well as any insight into what you see as its advantages and flaws.
As a Soviet economist, my perspective on capitalism was indeed influenced by my social and political environment. I approached the study of capitalist economies with a critical mindset, but my research also allowed me to appreciate the dynamics and complexities of the capitalist system. Capitalism, as an economic system, is characterized by the private ownership of the means of production, the pursuit of profit, and the reliance on market forces to determine prices and allocate resources. It is driven by the belief that individuals, motivated by self-interest, will allocate resources efficiently and generate wealth, leading to economic growth and improved living standards. Capitalism's reliance on market forces and competition tends to allocate resources efficiently as producers respond to consumer demand and strive to minimize costs. This efficiency often leads to increased productivity and economic growth. The profit motive encourages entrepreneurs and businesses to develop new products, technologies, and processes. This drive for innovation can lead to significant advancements in various industries, improving living standards and creating new economic opportunities. Capitalism allows for individual autonomy and freedom of choice. Consumers can decide what products to buy, and entrepreneurs can choose which businesses to establish, based on their preferences and interests. Flaws of capitalism. Income inequality. Capitalism can lead to significant income disparities, as the rewards of economic growth are not always distributed equitably. This inequality can result in social unrest, political instability, and reduced economic mobility for certain segments of the population. The pursuit of profit can lead businesses to exploit workers, consumers, and the environment. This exploitation can result in poor working conditions, deceptive marketing practices, and environmental degradation. Capitalist economies are prone to periodic cycles of economic expansion and contraction, leading to financial crises, recessions, and widespread unemployment. These fluctuations can cause significant hardship for individuals and communities. In conclusion, capitalism as an economic system has both advantages and flaws. While it can promote efficiency, innovation, and individual freedom, it can also result in income inequality, exploitation, and economic instability. Recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of capitalism can help inform policy decisions and promote a more balanced and sustainable economic system.
One last question about capitalism, and then we will go into the lightning round. How would you respond to those who say the United States doesn't have true capitalism at the moment due to the central banking system and regulatory capture by large corporations, special interests, and the power their lobbying efforts have on governmental policy?
It's essential to recognize that the term capitalism encompasses a wide range of economic systems, and no single country practices a pure form of capitalism. Indeed, the United States economic system has evolved over time, incorporating various elements of government intervention, central banking, and regulation. The concerns you mentioned, such as the central banking system and regulatory capture by large corporations and special interests, are valid points to consider. These factors can indeed distort market mechanisms and create imbalances in the capitalist system. A central banking system like the Federal Reserve in the United States can play a crucial role in managing the money supply, setting interest rates, and maintaining financial stability. However, some argue that the central bank's actions can interfere with the natural market forces that capitalism relies upon, leading to inefficiencies and unintended consequences. As for regulatory capture and the influence of lobbying, these issues can undermine the principles of a free market system by allowing powerful corporations and special interests to shape policy. This can lead to a situation where regulations and policies are designed to benefit a select few rather than serving the broader public interest. In response to these concerns, I would say that while the United States may not practice pure capitalism, its economic system still embodies many of the core principles of capitalism, such as private property, profit-seeking, and market-driven resource allocation. It's crucial for policymakers and citizens to be aware of the potential distortions caused by central banking, regulatory capture, and special interest influence. By addressing these issues and promoting transparency, accountability, and fair competition, the United States can work towards a more balanced form of capitalism that better serves its citizens and upholds the principles of a free market system.
Thank you for your insights. I believe that our audience will find them thought-provoking, to say the least. Now on to our lightning round. First question: what is a hobby or interest that people might be surprised to learn you have?
The lightning round. I am ready for the challenge. As for a hobby or interest that might surprise people, I have always been fascinated by history and culture. While my work primarily focused on economics, I took great pleasure in exploring the historical context and cultural forces that shaped economic development. Understanding the broader context and studying the rich tapestry of human history has always provided me with invaluable insights and a sense of perspective. So, in my leisure time, I enjoy reading about history, visiting museums, and learning about the customs and traditions of different societies.
What is one thing you have always wanted to try, but haven't yet?
As a person who lived during the early 20th century, there are numerous modern technological advancements and experiences that I would have loved to try, but never had the chance. One such experience that comes to mind is space travel. The idea of exploring the cosmos, witnessing the Earth from afar, and experiencing weightlessness is utterly fascinating to me. Unfortunately, during my lifetime, space travel was not yet a reality, but the thought of venturing into the unknown and expanding the boundaries of human knowledge has always captured my imagination.
What is a guilty pleasure you enjoy but rarely admit to?
I was a serious economist and spent most of my time engrossed in research and analysis. I must admit that I occasionally enjoyed indulging in the popular fiction of my time. Reading lighthearted, adventurous stories allowed me to escape the often somber reality of my daily life and immerse myself in a world of imagination and excitement. While I rarely admitted to this pastime, as it might have seemed frivolous, given my profession, I found it to be a refreshing way to unwind and recharge my intellectual batteries.
What is the one thing you would never leave the house without?
As an economist and scholar, I always found it essential to have a means to record my thoughts and observations. Consequently, I would never leave the house without a small notebook and a pen. Throughout my daily life, I would frequently encounter situations, conversations, or ideas that would inspire me or provoke further reflection. Having a notebook and pen handy allowed me to jot down these insights immediately, ensuring that I could later revisit them and integrate them into my broader understanding of economic phenomena. This practice was invaluable in helping me develop and refine my theories, including the Kondratiev wave.
What is a misconception people often have about you?
A common misconception people might have about me is that as a Soviet economist, I was entirely opposed to capitalism and its principles. While it is true that I approached the study of capitalist economies with a critical mindset, my goal was not to simply dismiss capitalism outright. Instead, I sought to understand its underlying dynamics, strengths, and weaknesses, with the aim of identifying patterns and mechanisms that could inform economic policy and contribute to a more balanced and sustainable economic system. My research, particularly on the Kondratiev wave, was focused on understanding the long-term cyclical nature of economic growth and decline in capitalist economies. I believe that recognizing the strengths and limitations of different economic systems, including both capitalism and socialism, can help us develop more nuanced and effective policies that promote long-term prosperity and well-being for all.
If you could travel back in time as we are doing now, what advice would you give to your younger self?
If I had the opportunity to travel back in time and offer advice to my younger self, I would emphasize the importance of perseverance, adaptability, and maintaining a broad perspective. My life and career were marked by numerous challenges and setbacks, both personal and professional. I would encourage my younger self to remain steadfast in the face of adversity and to never lose sight of the importance of the work I was undertaking. I would advise my younger self to be open to new ideas and perspectives, to embrace change, and to continuously refine and evolve my understanding of economics in the world. I would emphasize the importance of maintaining a broad perspective, considering not only the economic aspects, but also the social, political, and historical context that shapes our understanding of economic phenomena. By appreciating the complexity and interconnectedness of these forces, I would be better equipped to develop a more comprehensive and accurate view of the world. By following this advice, I hope that my younger self would be better prepared to navigate the challenges of life and contribute meaningfully to the field of economics and the broader understanding of our work.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
If I could have dinner with any historical figure, I would choose Adam Smith, the Scottish economist and philosopher who is widely regarded as the father of modern economics. His seminal work, The Wealth of Nations, laid the foundation for classical economic theory and greatly influenced our understanding of market mechanisms and the role of government in the economy. I would be fascinated to engage in a conversation with Adam Smith, as our perspectives on capitalism and economic systems would likely have been quite different. As a Soviet economist, I could offer a unique vantage point and share my insights on long-term economic cycles and the complexities of the modern global economy. I believe that such a dialogue could lead to a fruitful exchange of ideas, allowing both of us to refine our understanding of economic systems and contribute to a more nuanced and comprehensive view of how economies function. Moreover, I would be interested in discussing the moral and philosophical underpinnings of Smith's work, particularly his ideas on the invisible hand and the role of self-interest in guiding human behavior. I believe that this conversation would provide a valuable opportunity to explore the intersection of economics, philosophy, and human nature, deepening our understanding of the forces that shape our world.
Thank you for being with us today as we navigate these chaotic economic times. We appreciate the work you have done and how it can offer us guidance and a glimpse at the greater economic cycles that we are all living through. I'll close with this question. Nikolai Kondratiev, what is one thing you want to be remembered for?
Thank you for this engaging conversation. It has been a pleasure to share my insights and perspectives with you. As for what I would like to be remembered for, I hope that my work on long-term economic cycles, particularly the Kondratiev wave, continues to contribute to the understanding of how economies evolve and change over time. I believe that recognizing the patterns and forces driving these cycles can provide valuable insights for policymakers, investors, and academics, helping them make more informed decisions and promoting long-term economic stability and well-being. In addition to my specific contributions to the field of economics, I would like to be remembered as someone who approached the study of economics with an open mind, a critical eye, and a genuine desire to understand the complex and interconnected forces that shape our world. My hope is that my work can inspire future generations of economists and thinkers to continue exploring the intricate dynamics of our global economy and to work towards creating a more equitable and sustainable future for all.